All right, good day, class. So, the remaining topics for midterm will be about derivatives. So, mag-revolve na ang atong discussion around derivative. And actually, ang core concept sa derivative is the limits. But, natin mga shortcut class in getting the derivative of a function. There are rules that I will introduce to you. There are two topics akong ikuan ka. Ay, derivative siya, pero two topics sa derivative, subtopics sa derivative akong i-discuss. So, by the way, what is a derivative? Yeah, and I don't know if you or if you're familiar or if you've encountered this one, no. But when you say derivative class, say we want to get the derivative of a function f of x. Okay. So we have this graph now of f of x. We want to get a derivative and daghan na siyang notation. Ako na introduce later. But one notation in getting the derivative is naka-prime siya f prime of x. Okay. So if you have an f of x, a function of x, if you want to get the derivative, it is denoted by f prime of x. And as I mentioned, daghan siya notation, dili lang f prime. Nasa dy over dx, nasa pwede sad ka naka dx and ano to get the derivative or to note that that is the process of getting a derivative. Okay? So anyways, what is a derivative then? Okay? So a derivative class is the rate of change of a function, no, at a certain point. For example, naka f of x. We want to get the rate of change, for example, at example 4 ni. We want to get the rate of change or the derivative at x is equal to 4. So, f prime of 4 atong kwaon. Okay? But we will have a certain equation per class that will define the derivative of a function at any point. Okay? So that's very important concept. Now, unsaon to pagsabot sa derivative class? Another way to look at it is actually ang derivative is the slope of the tangent line of that graph no at that point. So when you say tangent line, okay, unsa man yung tangent line? So kanya kong example ha, kani gapon nga point class. Okay. Say we want to get a derivative of the function x, f of x at that point. All we have to do is we draw a tangent line. When you say tangent line class, that is the line that touches the graph at exactly one point. So, ang itsura niya, murag tapos lang jud ba ni touch lang jud siya. Ito na i-move gamay. Okay? So, I hope na-gets niyo, no? This is the tangent line, no? This is the line that touches this graph at this particular point. Okay? So, for example, nasa tayo point diri, ani nga point. Of course, the tangent line will will not look like the same sa kaning first nga akong draw nga tangent line. The tangent line of this second point will look like this. Okay? Because again, a tangent line, it touches the graph at exactly one point. Okay, so meaning class, at any point di of the graph, it will have a different tangent line. So naka-tangent line dira, tangent line paana, paana, and so on. Okay? So meaning, you will have a different value of the derivative at a different point. Okay? But again, as I've mentioned before, naatay way to get the one equation or the derivative of function at any point. And then mag-plug lang din different values of x to get the value of the derivative. Okay? So, let me just erase this one. Okay, so muna na imong tangent line class, no? It touches the graph at point 4, for example. Now, we want to get the derivative value ani. So, again, ang theory daw is that the derivative of this function at point 4 is the slope of the tangent line. So, meaning, if you have a line, okay, remember, if you have a line class, naman na siya slope, no? So, when you say slope, how steep is the line? Unsa siya ka-incline ba? Okay? So, review lang tagamay. When you have this kind of graph, for example, or line, kana nakainana nga line, and then nakainana nga line, of course, this second graph na kong i-draw, mas steep siya. Mas steep ba? Than this one. Okay? Apit naman gud ni siya ma-flat, oh. So, this one is steeper than this one. That means, kini siya nga graph class will have a higher value of slope. Okay, para ma-refresh na gamay yung memory ba. Okay, anyways, okay, we want to get this slope, di ba, of the tangent line. Now, I will draw another line class called the secant line. Okay. I will draw from point 1 to sorry. Ato na lang ning okay, so this is your secant line. This is your tangent line class. And then this is your secant line. Actually, awkward hindi ko mag-pronounce of secant, but secant na siya pag-pronounce. Okay, so ako sa ni-erison ang fourth-degree class, and let's have a general notation of this. Say this is your, say this point is your x here, okay? And this is your x plus h, given that kaninga length deriva is your h. Okay, and this is very important in getting the um, derivative nga function nimo. So, again, we had this x here, kay nasa x-axis, and then this point will be x plus h, no? Kay naman kay h diri nga length. And then this y, kaning y na to diri, let's denote this as f of x. Okay? And then this point here, kaning sa taas, of course, x plus h man na iyahang x dira. So that means this is your f of x plus h. Okay, I hope you're following. So, ato ning sulatan class of coordinates. Of course, ang coordinates sa atong point 1 will be x, f of x. Okay, coordinate niya ba? The x and the y. And this point will be, patient lang mo gamay ha, kay introduction mo gani. So, I want to make it clearer gid ang pagkuha. Okay? So, the coordinate will be x plus h, f x plus h. Okay? Sige. Para di mo malibog, akong butngan dira class og imaginary line. That's your f of x. And then, di lang siya state na. That's your f of x plus h. Okay. Now, in getting the derivative class of f of x, okay, natin f of x, okay? And then natin f prime of x. Atong buhaton class is, kining secant line na to diri class, this is your, this is the line that was created if we connect the 2 points. Okay? Now, if we want to get the slope of the secant line, remember class, the slope of a line is rise over run, di ba? The difference of y divided by the difference of x. Tama? If you can remember the slope. So, hinahinay na to class. The slope of the secant line, and again, we are getting the slope because we want to get nearer and nearer class to getting the derivative because diba akong yung ganina, the derivative is the slope of the tangent line. Okay? Now, nganong gamitin second line because we want to get the slope of the tangent later. So, unahon na nato kuha ning second line class, and take note that they will have this, they will have a common point class no sa secant. Ang secant is kana siya, and they have this common point. Ang tangent is napod siya na nga point. Okay, so common na nila nga point. Okay, balik ta. Let's get the slope of the second line. The slope of the second line class is rise over run. No? So, ang slope niya given by m na no, sa itong algebra, it will be the change of y over the change of x. Okay? So, if you want to get the change of y, tanaw na to class ang change of y niya. The change of y will be from here. Kininong kaniyang change of y. Okay, mo na yung change of y. Now, that would be kani minus kani nga value. Okay, difference and duha ba? So, unsa na siya nga length? Okay, Again, this is f of x plus h minus f of x. Okay, so that would be f of x plus h minus f of x. Okay, divided by, ang change pud karon sa x class, if you notice, is just, kana no? And that is x plus h, kuhaan ni mong x, or that is simply h. Nag-assume yata ganin nga h ni. Okay, kini nga length ba h. And that is your difference in x. From this point, I mean from this point to this point, ang difference niya sa x would be this. Okay, and that is h. So simply, h lang atong imbutan dira. Now, that is now the slope of the second line, but we don't want the slope of the second line. We want the slope of the tangent line. So yung gibuhat diri class is, what if this point gets closer and closer and closer to this point, such that the second line, the slope of the second line class will be equal to the slope of the tangent line. Okay? So how is that possible? So na to pagkuha class? If you have this slope of the second line, di ba ka na ang second line, slope ni Ana is given by this. Nakuha mo na ito ganina. If we move this point class closer and closer and closer yun to this point, nga mag-overlap na ng duha ka point sa second line class and ma-equal ang second line sa imong tangent line, all we have to do class is from this formula, okay, from this formula, we will um we will get the limit. Unsa di ay ang limit ani atong gikuha nga slope class when h approaches to 0. Nganong 0? Because we want to kini nga value sa h ba, ato ba ng pagamyon class. So for example, na atang point dira, so the h will be kanina from here to here. Okay, pero gusto pa kita i-closer, so example kanina point, so kung kanina point class, ang h na to will be gamay na kaayo. Now we want to overlap this point to this point. Okay, we want to overlap that point, so meaning our limit class will be, ang h na to must be very, very, very small that it will approach to 0 para ang imong isa ka point ga-overlap na sa imong first point. Nagets ninyo? Hopefully, nagets ninyo. So that means, class, in getting the derivative of function x, all we have to do is get the slope of the second line, pero kuhaon na to siya nga ang imong h will be very, very small. So that kanina dayon class ang imuhang slope of the tangent line. Okay? So this is now your slope of the tangent line. And we want to and of course, di ba nagkwenta ka ganina nga, the slope of the tangent line is now your derivative of your function x. Okay? So, kani, magamit ato ang knowledge sa limit class in getting the derivative. Okay, so we have this definition now. So, what is the process of finding the derivative of a function? We call that class as differentiation. So, kung na may problem, encounter mo problem nga, differentiate this function, ang pasabot rana is, you need to get the derivative of that function. Okay? So, again, the differentiation is the process of finding the derivative of a function. So, again, kaganina, atong nakuan class, na-prove na to, no, that the derivative of a function, f prime of x, is equal to the limit of the change of x. Now, the change of x, ako di ko ganahan, personally magtanong, change of x kay, malibog ko, pero basically, kanang imong h diya class, di man sa malibog, pero daghan kay kag hunaon mo na siya delta, na siya x dra. So, ato na isang ka letter, no? But basically, they're the same. So, ang h nato dire is, mo ni ato ang gidenote niya as the change of x. No? Oh, nangyari. Okay, the change of x is the h nato. Okay? Basically, yan lang gi-denote ba nga, mo ni mong change of x. kani sa imong slope na. Pero it's basically the same thing ha. Kung ato nang himong h dira, h pareha ra na siya og concept. Okay, so this is now your derivative of function, provided that the limit exists. Okay, for all x, for which this limit exists, f prime is a function of x. So after dali na kay siya class kay wala man siya contradiction no when it comes to um the existence of a limit. Okay, once your function once ito tawag ni, once your function has um sorry erase gamay this statement di ay pertains to this one. Okay, dili sa function itself but the derivative of a function. Okay, so sige, let's start solving using ato ang na nakuha ka ganin nga limit. Okay, so suppose we have f of x is equal to 5x minus 4. How do we get the derivative of this, no? So atong isolve class, we have atong i-write diri atong derivative ha. We have f prime of x equals the limit of f of x plus h minus f of x all over h as h approaches to 0. Okay, so unsay need na to? We have f of x and we need the f of x plus h. Now, you already know how to evaluate a function, no? So ato na evaluate class. You have here f of x plus h because that's what we need sa atong formula sa limits. So that means class, ang tanang x, pulihan itong x plus h. Diba sa atong first discussion sa function? So we have 5 times x plus h minus 4. Okay? So that means we have 5x plus 5h minus 4. Okay, we already have f of x plus h. We already have f of x. And then, of course, h naman na. So we can get the derivative. So we'll have f prime of x is equal to this. Kanang formula na to. Ato lang i-plug in the class. That will be the limit of 5x plus 5h minus 4 minus kuhaan mo sa iyang f of x. Now, basta malimot mo, ang f of x is kaning given na to. So that would be, in close kapag parenthesis, that would be 5x minus 4. Okay? All over h. Okay, rewrite gapon ang limit class kaya wala pa mo ng substitute sa value sa h, no? Ato sa ning i-simplify. So we'll have 5x plus 5h minus 4 minus 5x plus 4 all over h. So naaman siguro tayo makancel dira. We have 5x, no? 0. We have negative 4 plus 4. So that leaves us with 5h na lang class ng 5h over h. Now, di na to pwede dito plug in, no? Kuan man na, undefined man na. So, ma-simplify pa man further because the h will be cancelled. Okay? So, therefore class, the limit di of this, the derivative di of the function is limit lang of 5 as h approaches to 0. Now, we know if there's a constant, that will be the answer na dayon, di ba? So, the answer is 5. That is the derivative of x. It's very simple, class. All you have to do is, all you have to do is simplify the limit na itong nakuha. Basta gamitan yung knowledge sa limit. But again, later makakita mo, ay naada shortcut ani. Okay? Sige, let's have second example. Para maanad gyapon mo. Ako ra gyapon yung kapihon class. Kay kapoy na kag-rewrite. Okay. So same process, we need to get f of x plus h. Okay, naka-square man ni class, medyo taas. So we have x plus h, replace x with x plus h squared. So we'll have x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. Okay, and then getting the limit, that would be f prime of x. Lagi na natin na we have limit gap 1 as h approaches to 0 of what? F of x plus h is, that would be x squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus x squared. Huwag na itong f of x all over h. Now, same ka mo tag-approach class sa pag-solve na itong limits kay kung makita ninyo class, kaninga equation or kaninga limit ba is always gonna be undefined, no? Kung naan ng h dira. So, atong goal is, how do we get rid of h sa atong denominator? So, pangita lag way para mag-get rid mo ang h. Okay? So, sige, let's simplify. We'll have limit of, isa naman na. So, diretso lang tag-cancel kasi we have x squared no minus x squared. So, mawala na siya. Uh, that leaves us with 2xh plus h squared all over h. How do we get rid of that? Tanawa sa taas class, we can factor out h para makancel lang h ni mo sa ubos. With that h na kay 2x na lang plus h. Okay? All over h. So, cancel h. Mabili na lang class is the limit of 2x plus h as h approaches to 0. Now, we already know, kani nga point, di naman ma-simplify. So, ato na din i-substitute ang value sa 0 dito sa h. So, that leaves us with 2x plus 0. So, that means, ang ato ang derivative thereof function is 2x. Now, mo kasya ka lang ng 2x mo naman. Di na siya always value class. Di na siya always constant. It could be an equation. Okay? Equation or a function. So, this is now your derivative. This is your derivative of a function. So, again, you have a function x squared. Yung derivative class is 2x. Okay, let's have last example for the limits. Last example, na ba na yung dili lang sa siguro? Napada ito lo. Sige. Let's have 1 over x, f of x. So, sulat po nato ni, pwede nyo skip, kung may bahala, basta discuss ko dali. Okay, so this is f of x is equal to 1 over x. Okay, we want to get f of x plus h. So, very simple class. That would be 1 over x plus h. Okay, so then, atong koon ang derivative niya, f prime of x. So, that would be the limit of f of x plus h class, that would be 1 over x plus h minus f of x, that is 1 over x all over h. So, kung na to ng common niya, we have the limit, ito na i-rewrite class, that would be x, ito na gusto tayo x plus h. Okay. So, we have x minus, okay, I hope you're following ka na siya. Mahimo ni siyang x plus h, no? Pero, i-enclose siya parenthesis para ma-distribute imong negative ana later. Okay, so basically class, what I'm doing here kani, no, is getting the common denominator ani para ma-simplify na to siya. Okay? So that would be all over pag yun h. Okay. You have the limit, right na to class. Pero, kining sa taas class, ato na lang i-diretso ha. That would be minus x, di ba? Pag-distribute mo sa negative. And then minus h. So meaning, mawala ning x dire. Okay? So that would be cancelled. And ang mabilin niya sa taas class is simply negative h. Okay? Of course, kaninga part, pwede man na yung mabutang din sa ilalim, di ba? Okay? It's as if you're multiplying this whole term to 1 over h. Okay? Ma-reciprocal man na. So, diretso lang gyapon ako, that would be h x x plus h. Okay? So, since naka-multiply mo ng tanan dira class, pwede nimo makancel imong h dira. So, cancel imong h. Okay? So, you will have the limit of negative 1 over x plus h as h approaches to 0. So, ato na din i-substitute ang 0 class sa h. So, that will become negative 1 over x times x plus 0. Okay? And that is negative 1 over x squared. Okay? So, this is now your f prime of x. Okay, again, dili necessary nga constant always yung answer. It could be an equation or a function. Okay, that's for 1 over x. Now let's go to second to last example na for limits before I introduce to you the shortcut sa pag-solve of derivative. Okay, let's have f of x is equal to square root of x. Pero ako lagyan po. Okay, ako lagyan po ng i-paste. So you have to know how to solve this ang limits kay I will include this in the exam. How do you get the derivative using itong limit niya? Okay, so again, we will need f of x plus h. Okay, so pulihan na naman x of x plus h. So that would be square root of x plus h. Medyo taas na kayo naka-radical. Sige lang. So, this will be f prime of x. Okay, that would be the limit. So, f of x plus h, that is square root of x plus h, minus f of x, that is square root of x, all over h. Of course, we should rationalize. Skip na ninyo nga part class. Basta ako, mag-solve ko dire. Okay, we should rationalize it, meaning we multiply it with the conjugate x plus h plus square root of x. X plus h plus square root of x. Okay, so limit. Dito lang gyapon ng class ha. This will be x plus h na lang. Because again, kani siya mo square. So, mawala yung radical sign. Minus x. Okay? All over h niya multiplied by kaning ko sa quantity niya nga square root of x plus h plus square root of x. Okay. So, sa taas class, makarigya po no, imong x minus x. So, therefore, that will be cancelled. So, ang mabili na po sa taas will be negative, dili na negative, positive din siya. That would be positive h all over h square root of x plus h plus square root of x. So, that will be cancelled kaya po ng h, no? Okay. So, easy na din ni class. Now, kung makancel yung h, ang mabilin ana is the limit of 1 over square root of x plus h plus square root of x as h approaches to 0. So, pwede na naman i-plug in ang value sa h, which is 0. That is 1 over square root of x plus 0 plus square root of x. Now, this will become just square root of x. Yeah, plus saan mo square root of x class? that would be 1 over 2 square root of x. This is now your derivative of the function x. Okay, we're down to our last example. Sige, let's have this function. You have x squared minus 5x minus 9. So, same process gyapon, balik-balik para ma-embed sa inyong class. You'll get f of x plus h. So again, tanang x plane of x plus h will have x plus h squared minus 5 times x plus h minus 9. So x squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus 5x minus 5h minus 9. Actually, example, mas siguro ko na last time when we were solving for the evaluation of a function. Anyways, so this is now your f of x plus h. Next step is we get the derivative f prime of x. So limit ra gihapon, okay, of this one. So that is x squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus 5x minus 5h minus 9. Minusan nimo sa whole f of x. X squared minus 5x minus 9. Nga all over h ni tanan class. All over h. Okay, so unsa man atong ma-cancel dira? Cancel to diretso class no kay kani siya ma-negative x squared. Kini ma-positive 5x. Kay negative kini siya is ma-positive 9. So, unsay mawala ani? Of course, kani x squared. Okay? Unsa pa? Kining 5x. And then, of course, ang 9. So, ang mabilin sa taas is simply 2xh plus h squared minus 5h all over h. So, ang goal is to get rid of h sa ilalom. So, we have to factor out h sa taas class. All of the terms have h. So, wala na yung problema. That is 2x plus h na lang mabilin minus 5. Okay? All over h. So, cancel h. Then, pwede na rin tayo mag-plug in sa ito ang value sa h na 0. So, that would be 2x plus 0 minus 5. So, simply, 2x minus 5. This is your derivative of your function. Okay. Sige, moving on. I-pause na ako. Ano lang. See, moving on class, I'll introduce to you the constant rule. So, kanita ng class, this is a very lengthy process of solving for the derivative of a function. You can do it, pero duway ka mahuman, no? If mo agi kag limits. Now, they've, they opened to derive, but they discovered ways to shorten the process. And I'm going to introduce to you unsa na nga mga rules in getting the derivative or in differentiating a certain function. Let's start first with the constant rule. So your constant rule class, simple na kayo siya. It means that the derivative of a constant function is 0. That is, if c is a real number, then getting the derivative of c is equal to 0. So, katong giyon kaganina, there are so many notations in getting the derivative of a function, pwede d over dx, no? O whatever function, and y ba na siya. Mo na usahay, pwede siya dy over dx pagkasulat. Okay, pwede po f prime of x. Okay, so, isa niya siya class sa pag-denote na to sa pagkag-derivative no kani siya. Getting the derivative in terms of x of the constant function c is always equal to 0. Nga naman, di na ito maaging limits kasi actually hold true gyap ng limits pero tanaw na to graphically nga 0 ang derivative sa constant function. Because when you have a constant function class, di ba the graph of a constant function is always a horizontal line. Kay whatever value sa imong x that class, f of 1, sample, atong f of x class is equal to 5, no? Muna yung 5. F of 1 is equal to 5. Okay? F of 2 is equal to 5. F of 3 is equal to 5 because it's a constant function. Meaning, at any point sa imong x class, it's always gonna be 5 ang imong y. That's why it's called a constant function. Kabalo naman taan ano. And that is also the reason why ang iyahang line or iyahang graph is a horizontal line. Nga mo cross dito sa imuhang 5. If, again, your f of x is equal to 5. So generally, when you have a function, f of x is equal to c type ni siya. Okay, and it is a horizontal line. Now, if we want to get the derivative of this function or this constant function, di ba atong kaon is ang slope niya class? Now, the slope of a horizontal line is equal to 0. Yan naman. Kung ano ni magmaayo, unsay slope or unsa ka steep ang imong horizontal line. But when we say steep slope or when we say slope, that is the steepness of a certain graph or a certain line. So kung nakay nga line class, steep kay siya no, pasaka ba, very inclined. When you have a horizontal line, dili siya inclined. Meaning zero ang yung inclination, zero ang yung slope. So always nga ang slope sa horizontal line is equal to 0. Meaning, di ba, ang atong gipangita sa, di ba, ang slope is the derivative. So meaning the derivative of a constant function is always equal to 0. So, inyon na siyang hinumduman class. F of x, ato ra, naman the table din. So, you have here a function y is equal to 7. So, ang yung derivative na is 0. So, tagal na mo different ways to kuan class to denote in getting the derivative, no? So, kung 7 man na, ang yung derivative is 0. Slope na 0. F of s is equal to 0, 0 gyapon. S of t is equal to negative 3 nga function. It's a constant. S prime of t is equal to 0. Y is equal to k pi squared, where k is constant. Of course, pi is constant, so meaning this whole term is constant. Bahala pa kung sa value sa mong k. So it's always going to be constant. So y prime is equal to 0. So again, there are many ways. No, one is to denote it by prime, f prime of x, or d over dx. Okay, kung nakay y di ang function, so that means you get the derivative of y in terms of x. And then pwede said naka y prime na. Easier to look at, to visualize. Naka y prime. Basta kaya naka prime na siya. Okay? So, again, the constant rule is very easy. The constant rule says that the derivative of a constant function is always equal to 0. So, muna siya mga example class. Let's move on to the power rule. So, kini power rule, if this is your first time encountering this, medyo it needs practice para mahasa gid mo. But basically, what it does, kini nga rule class, is to simplify our process in differentiation. So, if n is a rational number in this power rule theorem, no, the function f of x daw, which is equal to x to the n, is differentiable, and that is equal to, kung nado kay x of n class, that is equal to n, ang derivative niya, inaog ni mong n, kay mo na kay n dira. And then, i-retain ni mong x, and then yung exponent class, kuha na ni mong 1. Okay? Okay. So, sige. So, let's have an example. Again ha, ang pinakadali hinumduman ani is whatever yung exponent dira imo na inaog nimo dire i-times nimo sa x and then minusan nimo siya 1 mao na iyahang derivative of x to the n. So balik ta sa tong example ganina class. Ganito example. Katong kini lang sang tay isa ka term no kay naman tay duha ka example nga multiple terms no polynomial. Sige, so kanila sa isa ka term. Ingon siya tayo sulat. The derivative daw of a function x to the n in terms of x with respect to x is just equal to n, inaud ni mong n, times x raised to n minus 1. Kuhaan na ni mong 1 ang imong exponent. Okay. So, all of these three class, actually, kining tulo, lahi lang siya dagway, naka-radical, naka-rational, kini polynomial. You might think na, pwede ka na ma-differentiate, labi na kini. All you have to do is express it in this way, x to the n. Now, this f of x is already expressed in x to the n, di ba? Where your n is 2. Okay? So that means, if we want to get the f prime of x di, where your f of x is equal to x squared, all you have to do is bring down the 2, okay? Now na tong 2, multiply na tong x, and then this exponent minus na to 1, that would be 2 minus 1. So that is just 2 to the x. 2 to the x raised to 1 or 2x. And duha na siya ka step class. Ato na i-check sa itong pag-solve sa limit if it's indeed 2x. Nara class. Nara o, f of x is equal to x squared. In getting the derivative, nakuha na to ang 2x. So daghan kita giagian class, ingani na day siya. Dihang power rule. Okay? Now, 2x. Okay, how about the second example? F of x is equal to 1 over x. Dili siya straightforward no ing ani ang itsura. Pero we can make it like that. Okay, we can express it in this manner. How? Ato lang, ipasaka ang x. Now, kung ipasaka na to ang x class, kung si metabo, if ipasaka na tong x, maunsa dapat iyang exponent? Dapat may mo negative 1, di ba? Kigisaka man nato siya. So that is, ang 1 over x na to, gi-express na to in a different form, pero it's equal. So that is x raised to negative 1. It's already in this form, x to the n, where your n is negative 1. Okay? So that means in getting the derivative, that is f prime of x, that is just equivalent to negative 1. Naog ni mo negative 1. Multiply ni mo x. Ang negative 1, kuhaan pa dyan ni mo negative 1. Okay? Basta kay manyusal na ni mo 1 class basically. So, that would be negative. Kung na kay 1 din ang coefficient class, pwede na naman, di mo dili i-rewrite, di ba? So, that is negative x raised to negative 2. Now, again, pwede yan nga answer. However, mas nice man na class nga imuhang mga exponent kay positive. So, ato lang yapon siyang i-express balik into ing ani. So, that is simply equal to negative 1 over x squared para positive ang atong exponent pa. Okay? Again, there's nothing wrong with this, no? Visually lang ba? We want a positive exponent. So, we have an answer of negative 1 over x squared. Now, ato in check class, negative 1 over x squared, bagay atong nakuha. Ganina. Hopefully, no? Ato ra. So, we have f of x is equal to 1 over x. And agitag, grabe kataas nga process again, only to find out that it's the same answer. So, f prime of x is equal to negative 1 over x squared. And that is just the same here. Using the power rule. So, pila siya ka step, tulo. Okay, how about this one? F of x is equal to square root of x. Again, ato siyang i-express into x to the n. So, that is just x to the 1/2. Okay? You have a radical sign. Of course, kung wala number there, no, it means imong index is 2 man. Kung 3 na siya class, meaning cube root of x, ang iyapong expression would be x to the 1/3. Okay? So, I hope that's understandable. So, again, I-express na to siya into x to the n, where your n here, class, is 1/2. Pwede naman din mong butana, pero kung gusto mo guide, hala, sige. So, f prime of x, karon would be n, which is 1/2. Again, bring down n, multiplied by x, raised to 1/2 minus 1. Okay? So, that is 1/2. X to the 1/2 minus 1 class is negative 1/2. Okay? Negative 1/2, para ma-positive siya, ato siyang ibutang sa ubos. 1 over 2 x to the 1/2. Okay? Now, di po taganahan po nga naka-fraction na may exponent. So, ibalik na po na to siya og radical class. That is 1 over 2 square root of x. That is f prime of x. So, again, i-check na to, ba? Square root of x, no? Okay, this is the square root of x. Square root of x. In getting the derivative, we got 1 over 2 square root of x. And that is just the same here. Okay, so very simple class. Ang power rule na to. Sige, let's move on to the constant multiple. Ngayon, importante yung constant multiple. Basically, class, what it means sa kining nga theorem is, if you have f of x, and it is multiplied by some constant number, ang pasabutan na is just equal to a constant number, that the same constant number multiplied by your derivative. So meaning, if you have x there, katong x squared na to ganina, ano sa to? Para same na to example ba? If you have f of x, ng x squared class, okay? Di ba natin f prime of x, itong nakuha using the power rule is just 2x. Diba? And then you have another function here nga, say, g of x, and that is equal to 3x squared. Okay? So, ang pasabot lang aning constant multiple rule is that you can get the derivative of x squared, stand alone siya, and whatever mo makuha class, which is kani, you just multiply it by 3. Okay? So, parang ipakilid na mo ang 3, and that would be your derivative of that function. So, basically, nalakay 3 dira, which is kaning c nimo. And then you get in the same process, using the same process of power rule, ang derivatives imong x squared. Okay? So, ang derivative ana is katong kaganina no nga 2x. So, just multiply it and you will get 6x. So, ano lang kasimple ang constant multiple rule. Basta constant number ang gimultiply nimo sa function, dili ra kay pwede ra mo siya ipakilid. Later, i-multiply mo siya after getting the derivative of that function. So, ana lang. Sige, let's move on to the example. Now, to example din rin. Okay? So, kaganina, na atay 1 over x, di ba? Kaganina, 1 over x. Actually, mura na siya, yung gikuha niya kan ba, 1 over x. Gikuha niya ang derivative, pero, sige, ito lang yun na yun. We get dy over dx, that is the derivative of y with respect to x. Then, rewrite na po niya class into d over dx such that your y class is just equal to 2 over x. And your 2 over x yung express into x to the n. No? So, that is 2x to the negative 1. So, basically, akatong ingon, pwede rin mo ipakilid ng 2 dira and then get a derivative, ani, which is 1 over x squared, di ba? A negative 1 over x squared na ko na ito ganina. And then, finally, multiply mo 2. Okay, how about t squared? 4t squared over 5. So, ang 4 over 5, pwede pakilid. Ang t squared, mo ay mong kuhaan og, mo ay mong i-differentiate. Okay, differentiating that, using power rule, 2t rabi answer, di ba? Ayan mo siya multiply sa 4 over 5. And so on, class. Hindi na ako isa-isahan. That is the constant multiple. Okay. Napagid siya dere. Basically, yung gibuhat class is just simplifying everything. Okay? Naka-original function. Kay, syempre, dili naman diretso ang ihatag sa inyo kay x squared lang, x squared 1 over x. Of course, medyo complicated na ito gamay. But this one, stick lang to sa isa lang sa ka-term, no? So you have 5 over 2x cubed. In getting the derivative, mas maganda easier if you rewrite it in a manner nga sayon tan-awon class. Okay? So yung gibot ani is, gipakilid sa inyong 5 over 2, 5 squared, 5 halves. And then, rewrite imong x cubed in terms of x to the n. So that is x to the negative 3. Okay? And then, ayan na din ka mo differentiate. Na kung ga-differentiate ka, of course, mausab na na mo ang notation. Dili na y prime na na. Okay? Y prime, ang 5 halves na sa kilid. Getting the derivative, ani, is using the power rule. So, ang negative 3 mo down, mo ng negative 3 dira. And then, minusan ni mo nag 1, mo ng negative 4 siya. Okay? And then simplify everything. So that would be 5 times negative 3 mo na negative 15 siya dira. And then you bring down ni mo. I-positive ni mo exponent. So mao nang naa sa ubos ang x to the fourth. Okay. So kanay class, just look at this para maanad mo and pwede sa dili sa ninyo nito naon ini-solve ninyo isa-isa. So again ha, all you have to do is rewrite it in a very simple manner, rewrite it in a manner laging which is easier for you to differentiate the, kumbaga, the core function or the original function. Okay, and then, don't forget to simplify. Dili pwede nga nilang dire, repod tama, no? So, i-simplify yun na mo. Alright, let's move on to the sum and difference rules. So, basically, the sum and difference rules class states that when you have two different functions pa, okay, f and g of x, and you want to get the, and if you want to get the derivative of the sum or the difference of these two functions, it's just the same with getting the derivative of the first plus getting the derivative of the second. Or kung subtract magani ka, derivative of the first function minus the derivative of the second function. So, maorigin na siya. And nga nung importante nga theorem, para sunod nga magkuha ta og derivative or mag-differentiate ta og many terms, multiple terms class in a function, dili mo contradict ang atong ubang rules. Pwede ta makagamit og power rule for every term and then just add or just subtract. Ana lang. Para sa itong example ka ganina. So, natay 5x minus 4 o x squared minus 5x minus 9. So, they have multiple terms. Kani 2 terms, kani 3 terms ng polynomial. Okay? So, using ani nga rule class, pwede na to ni kuhaon ang derivative ani and derivative ani para sa iyo na nga to ang pag-solve sa combination nilang duha. Okay? So, murag, kada term is mura siya gi stand alone ba? Ikuhaan siya each derivative and then just add or subtract mo na imuhang derivative sa whole mga function. Okay, so let's try to solve for f prime of x. Okay, f prime of x class is kung sa 5x class. Okay, kung sa 5x, kung saan ni mo pagkuha sa derivative aning 5x, it's very simple. Magtanaw pa lang gani ka class. Okay, ato sa power rule ha kay para ma-follow ninyo. Okay, mo na atong rule no. So basically, what we're doing is we get the we write 5 here, okay? We get the derivative of x. That is x to the 1 man no. Minus the derivative of 4 or a constant function, di ba? Di ba the derivative of a constant function is always equal to 0 class? So, ato sa unahon ang kani x. Now, 5 class, ang derivative sa itong x is just, unsa man, bring down 1, okay? Copy x, niya, raise to 1 minus 1, okay? Minus the derivative of 4 class or a constant function is always equal to 0. So, ma-0 na siya. Okay? So, kaning x dire raised to 1 minus 1, that is 0, di ba? So, kung ma-0 na siya class, this will become 1. Okay? Any value that is raised to 0 is equal to 1. So, kung mahimo ni siyang 1 lang di ay, our answer is just simply 5. Okay? So, this is now your f prime of x. So, sa'yo na kayo siya class. Actually, there are so many ways. Pwede na kadili mo agi ani. Kani bitong maging ani ka. This is just to guide you kung bago pag mo galan og differentiation ba. This is to guide you para dili mo mawala. Basin malimot mo makapin ninyong 4 kay nakalimot mo differentiate sa iya ha. So mas better nga each term will have a differentiation of its own. Okay? Differentiation nga process of its own para digin mo malimot. Now, balik lang gamay sa ato ang function na dili siya contradictory sa itong mga na-learn since algebra days class. Why? Kay kaning 5x minus 4, if you can remember, this is in the form of mx plus b. Okay? Y is equal to mx plus b. It's a line, di ba? It's a line. Okay? Line na siya. It's a graph of a line. And to get the graph of a line, to get the slope of a line, di ba kani siya nga value m? whatever is the coefficient of x, mo na yung slope, mo na yung m. So, kung tanawin pala nimo, 5x minus 4, ang m na to diri class is 5. So, that means, kani din slope sa itong m. Muna ni ang atuang derivative. Okay, muna siya atong slope. Okay? Pero here, class, dili naman nila no. Curve naman ni siya, parabola. So, dili na tayo dito maka-apply ni. Pero kanila ba, it's a good thing to notice. Okay, nga kani siya ang mx plus b. Where 5 is your slope. So, muna na ko itong 5 dira. Okay? So, atong buhaton class is same na yapon ani sa number 2. No, atong hinahinayon. Pero kung anad na gani kaya class, pwede na gani ka dili maginani. Mag d over dx kada term ba. Pero sugod pa man ta og learn aning derivative then ato lang hinahinayon. So, we have f prime of x. Okay? Now, ang x squared na to, wala man tayo line coefficient or constant nga naka-multiply sa iya. So, diretso na ta og differentiate sa iya, no? Differentiate na to na minus 5. Okay? Ang 5 constant, atong ipakilid. Dayon, differentiate x. Minus, constant na. So, muna na itong differentiate ang 9. Okay. X squared will become 2x raised to 2 minus 1. Okay? Minus 5, kani class, pare ni kanina 1 times x raised to 1 minus 1 minus 0. Okay? So, this will become 2x. Okay, mahimo maning x to the 1. And then kini siya class, mahimo na po ning x to the 0 or equivalent to 1. So that is minus 5. Nya, 0 naman ang third term. So, simply, itong answer is 2x minus 5. Okay, kung i-check ito sa taas class, mabagit itong answer. So, taas sa itong solution ganina. Okay, sa x-ray set, x squared minus 5x minus 9, you have 2x minus 5. Okay, 2x minus 5. Same sa ito nakuha. And then the first example, okay, we got 5. Again, pwede ninyo tutukan kada term class, makuha na ninyo diretso ang iyang derivative. Pero syempre, matanaw yapon ko sa solution na yun sa inyo pag-differentiate per term. Okay, next. Okay. Few examples na sa iyang sum and difference rules class, no? So, kani, akong giyon ganina, di necessary nga butang-butangan ni mo mga d over dx dira. Kung hasol kasi sa imo ang pananaw, okay ra. As long as kabalo ka, wala kay ma-miss dira o differentiate, okay? So, kini, f of x is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 5. So, x cubed, may mo siyang 3x squared, okay? Bring down 3, may kuwag isa ang 3 nga exponent, may mo ng 2, okay? That's why 3x squared. Ang negative 4x, may mo rin ng negative 4. So, kung naari kay x di a class, whatever is the coefficient ni mo, na always yung answer when you get the derivative. Okay, so that is, sorry, that's negative 4. And not negative 4. And then, constant man eh, 0 na siya. Okay, so this is your f prime of x. G prime of x, g of x, kani given by this. So, mahimo ning, shortcut na po niya. So, ang mahitabo mong gudaan ni class, mahimo ni siyang, diri ba? Mahimo man na siyang, ato yung pakilid ang 1/2, no? Ang x to the 4th, mahimo siyang 4, okay? X to the 3rd power. Okay, kay 4 minus 1. Okay, mahimo, again, ang x to the 4th, yung derivative is 4x cubed. That is why, imo nang makancel ang 2 dra. Mahimo na lang ng 2. So, that's why you have negative 2x cubed. Okay? So, 9, ang 9x squared, gikan na siya sa, kani, plus 3, pakilid mo 3, x cubed. X cubed plus mahimong 3x squared. Bring down 3, minus of 1 ang exponent. Okay? So, that's why you have here, 3 times 3 na kay 9. And then again, when you have negative 2x, so whatever is the coefficient sa mong x, mo na dito siya mong derivative. So, that's minus 2. So, mo na itong answer. Okay, next is introduce na ako class ang derivatives of sine and cosine functions and trigonometric. This is very important kay magbaylo ra na sila class. Medyo special niya kay syempre wala ang nagamit og power rule ani. Mao lang nandiyan na siya. The derivative of sine is cosine Pero the derivative of cosine is the negative of sine. Di na siya pwede mabaylo. Okay? Again, sine, derivative of sine is cosine. Derivative of cosine is negative sine. Mora ba ni usahay gid ka kabaylo-baylo ang mga estudyante ang negative. Okay? So, i-recall lang na. And then, okay, we also have this. So, if you have, if you know the derivative class of certain functions, dali na kayo, balik ipang combine nimo. So, same is true with this cosine, sine functions, no nga, constant multiple dira. So, all you have to do is get the derivative of sine, x which is cosine, yeah, multiply and then nimo. Okay, how about this? Sine x over 2, pakililigyan po ng 1/2, and then get the derivative of sine mo nang nakay cosine times 1/2. So, to simplify, nakay cosine x over 2. Okay, how about this? X plus cosine. So, combine na to tong knowledge no, sa polynomial o sa trigonometric. So, same rule applies, class. Get the derivative, plus lang doon. So, the derivative of x is 1. And then the derivative of cosine is negative sine. So, meaning the derivative of x plus cosine x is equal to 1 minus sine x. Okay, product rule. Medyo taas lagi akong discussion. No? Product rule, kaya siya class medyo tricky siya gamay, no? Pero, dali naman siya kay all you have to do is get the derivative of each function. Multiply siya sa iyahang original and derivative. Then i-plus nimo. So, dali na siya kay duha naman siya ka function involved no na kay f and g. Okay? If you multiply two different functions class and you differentiate them, all you have to do is copy ang original function kaning first, get the derivative of the second, plus baylo na pod. Kato na pong isa ang copy ang original, kato na pong first ang imong kuhaan og derivative. So, pwede na siya baylo. Pwede kini una, and then plus ani. Wala man tayo problema kay naka-plus man na. May tag minus na, kadili pwede ma-interchange. Pero in this case, pwede ma-interchange. Basta, ipares na mo original function sa derivative sa isa. Plus, katong second na pod na original, and then derivative sa first. Ano lang. So, we have an example. 3x squared times sine x. Okay? Wala man tayo rule good class nga pagkuha, wala tayo rule ba nga derivative sa x squared times sine x. Okay? All we have to do is we make use of the rules nga gipanghatag sa tuwa. So in this case, we should consider ang x squared or 3x squared in this manner. Pwede ra? Actually, kung you have a constant multiple ra, pwede nimo ikuyog sa x squared class or pwede sad nimo ang 3 ikuyog mo sa sin x. Wala dyan na problema. Kay multiplication man na siya. Okay? So in this case, ang 3 man good nimo is multiplied by x squared. Siya na lang kung ikuyog, di ba? Siya kung i-consider nga first function. Okay? Muna kung consider nga first. And then, this is your second. Ako na lang kung ano. This is your first function and then their second function. So that when we get f prime of x class, ato na siya yan na yun. Narao, nasa taas. F of x daw or ang first function nimo which is 3x squared. So, i-copy na itong 3x squared class. Okay, i-copy ang first function multiplied by the derivative of the second function. Kini ang gamit kayo ang notation sa derivative class para mag-guidean mo ba asa na inyong asa na inyong i-differentiate nga part. Okay? Plus, karon class dili gid mo makabalik-balik ani kay pagtan-aw ninyo hala unsa gito kung gi-differentiate ka ganina ang sin x. So karon na pud siya na pud akong dili i-differentiate sa second term. So karon i-copy na ko ng sin x. Ang ako na po i-differentiate this time is ang 3x squared. So bali dili gid magkuyog ang term class nga ma-differentiate nimo ang duha. Baylo-baylo sila ba? Okay? So again, balik ta ha. Copy the first, differentiate the second. Plus, copy the second original, differentiate the first. Okay. So, ato na ta karon sa differentiation. Copy hon sa taning 3x squared class. Inya, ang derivative aning sin x is, katong nalayan to ganina is, cosine x. Plus, copy sin x. Nya, ang derivative aning 3x squared class is using the power rule. Ay, power rule, no? So, using the power rule, copy na to ng 3 dira. Okay? Multiplied by 2, which is an exponent nga itong di panaog, times x raised to 2 minus 1. Okay? Or 1 na imo ang exponent. So, to simplify that, we have 3x squared, combine na lang, cosine x, plus, kaning 6 class, ato na ning i-rewrite class, no? Dito sa unahan. Ato na ipauna. You will have 6. Nya, kining x, ato sang ipauna para nindot ba? Manindot sa mata, bitaw nga ang sin x, cosine x, kinasa sa last. So, una to write ang x. Okay? So, may mo ning 6, kani 6, then x na lang na, no? So, that will be 6x sine x. Okay? So, this is your f prime of x. Okay, so that's how you get class D. That's how you apply the product rule. Okay, so another example. Okay, kini siya class is duha imuhang kuan. Before ko mag-quotient rule, ang quotient rule sa next discussion na ni class, sakit na kong tutunan. Next video na po ni. So, this is the last example for product rule. Unsa man ni siya? Nakay duha, no? At itong tanong, pwede mo malibog. Nakay duha ka term, okay? So, kabalo ta nga, if you have two terms, atong i-differentiate each term. Okay? If we differentiate each term class, ato na pong tanawon nga, be, ang kani ba nga term, kay combination ba siya of two functions? If not, sure to differentiate. But, if it's a combination of two functions, then we'll use the product rule. Okay. So, karon sa first term class, na kay x na sa cosine. So, okay, kabalo na ta, mag-product rule, dire. Nya sa second, sin x naman, wala problema. Diretso ra, differentiate. Okay. So, ato na lang na siyang isolve diretso. We have f prime of x. Okay. So, sa kini class, kani, okay, we'll get the derivative ani. So, I'm gonna consider 2x as the first function, and then the cosine x is the second. Okay? Adito malibog. So, ako na i-close og blue ha, para just to separate it from the second term ng 2 sin x lang. Okay. So, product rule states that i-copy ni mong 2x. Okay? Copy 2x. And then differentiate the second. So, differentiate cosine x. Okay? Plus, copy na po karon ang cosine x. Differentiate na po ang 2x. Okay. So, mao ni siya ang sa imuhang kini siya is the derivative of this. Kana lang siya. Basin ba, ma-miss ni mo ang second, napabi kay second. So, karon minusan na po na nato. Kay minus man siya. Minus ang 2, ipakilid na to, 2, multiplied by the derivative of sine x. Okay, para na lang dyan may guide. Okay, this time, pwede natin mag-differentiate sa tanang, pwede mag-differentiate nila class. That is 2x. Okay. The derivative of cosine x, ay kalimutan, is negative sine x. Okay, now class, kini particular kay kuha ni, isulod gina siya og parenthesis. Kung wala ni mo sulod parenthesis, minus na ni mo siya unya. And dili na siya minus na, multiplied mo na siya. Negative sine x multiplied by 2x. Okay. Plus, cosine x ni. Yeah, derivative of 2x is just simply 2. Minus 2. Yeah, derivative of sine x is positive cosine x. Okay, so to simplify that, ato lang nang i-rearrange nga may class, no? We'll have negative 2x sine x. Yeah, if you can notice, class, this is cosine x times 2. Yeah, kini siya, 2 cosine x. Actually, pwede man na ito good ma-rewrite as, mauna ning 2 ba? So this is simply plus 2 cosine x minus 2 cosine x. And this can be cancelled. So, ma-zero na siya. 0 na eh. Diba? 0. So, that leaves us with the final answer that is negative 2x sine x. Okay, so this is now your derivative. Okay, uno na class, kung niagi patag limits niya, kini ang gihatag sa tuwa nga function, ambot ka na sa patamahuman, no? So again, just use and familiarize the rules nga ako na-discuss and solve as many problems as you can. Pwede mo mangita sa internet if you want to practice katong na ng mga answer daan para ma-compare mo kung sakto yung answer or dili. Okay? And on the next video, I'll discuss the quotient rule and the chain rule. Okay? And the chain rule is daghan na kay kag combination ba? Combination of many functions within a function na dayon. Okay? So kana lang sa for the introduction to derivative, and I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye.